Okay, time now for our third use case of the morning. He's the lead software architect at SIX Digital Exchange, which offers fully integrated digital asset trading, settlement, and custody. So please welcome to the stage, Sergey Udovenko.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Sergey. I'm working for SIX Digital Exchange. Today, I'm very excited to present SDX, tell you a little bit what it is about, and especially how we do it. The SIX Digital Exchange, SDX for short, is fully integrated trading, settlement, custody solution for digital assets. It is going to be fully regulated by Swiss authorities, FINMA, Swiss National Bank. SIX Digital Exchange was initiated by SIX Exchange back last year. And as you probably know, SIX itself is a financial service provider for financial infrastructure in Switzerland. Swiss SIX is well known for history of innovation. So, for instance, back in 1996, SIX came first in the world with fully automated trading, settlement, custody solution. Also, SIX stands for strong, stable, and solid infrastructure for their customers. Sometimes SIX referred as Switzerland's Fort Knox. As you probably know, there is a vault buried somewhere in Olten where a lot of value hold. This is also very tightly regulated. Out of 7 FMI licenses issued by FINMA, 6 of them already held by SIX. So as you can imagine, SIX already offers a full value chain for their customers. It includes listing and trading on SIX Swiss Exchange platform. It is a clearing on the SIX Xclear platform, settlement and custody on SIX SAS, and payment, SIX payment. So SDX is right at home with SIX because it's the same value chain we're going to offer for digital assets. So we all know what Internet and World Wide Web did for our information needs and exchange of information, the way how we treat and look into the information world today. There is practically no paper mail exchange after 30 years of Internet. We at SDX believe what distributed ledger technology is going to do practically the same for the way how value transfer happens. That's why we put DLT technology at the core of our system. So where we are placing ourselves? If you look at that chart, there is an FMEs and banks in traditional space who are offering traditional models on traditional assets, but they are fully regulated according to the laws. On the other hand, there are newcomers, new exchanges which are trading or offering digital assets, crypto assets. We're trying to be more regulated, but there is still a long way to go. The SDX tries to set into the new territory, becoming a digital model on distributed ledger, where traditional and digital assets could be fully traded and settled, while becoming a first fully regulated digital exchange in the world. So that's actually what we're aiming at. So our vision is become a best-in-class and most trusted digital exchange worldwide. And we also would like to offer the leading marketplace for the digital assets. To do that, we are building a SDX platform. SDX platform, in a nutshell, a simple set of services. One of them is obviously tokenization of the assets and cash. The matching engine to facilitate trading. Of course, connectivity. We need to interface with a traditional organization, a new organization, and a custody and key management solution. It is tightly integrated on top of the 6 services, like we have access to the traditional assets on the CSD, SAS system, and access to payment network SIC to tokenize Swiss francs. The SDX platform, aim of that platform, is to build a so-called business network, SDX business network, where we would invite our existing customers from SIX and new participants, offering them a full ownership of assets in that network and free exchange of value on that network. We also understand a need to interoperate with other networks. So it's not the only limited access for members of SDX. We also would provide a way how to interoperate with other networks coexisting and overlapping our own. The assets, what we are issuing, supposed to be standardized and interoperable with other similar networks. So the first things what we are going to offer is issuance of new native assets. This is so-called IDO process, initial digital offer. We try to combine best of 2 worlds, the rigidity and securities of IPO process, which is today done in traditional world, and new processes like ICO, all to offer issuance into the regulated primary market of new digital assets. Together with that, we also would offer trading and issuance of structured products, where the underlyings can be or might not be digitalized and presented on our platform. That is normally for regulated institutions. Once we go live, we also would tokenize existing assets. That is all those assets like Nestle shares, which are today traded and hosted by SIX platform. And last but not least, tokenization of non-bankable assets. We're pretty much excited to go there. Non-bankables are arts or piece of real estate or car or yacht, everything which is today was not possible to trade at all on the public stock exchange. We are going to offer that soon as a tradable assets on our exchange. So how we are going to do that? Clearly, SDX has many challenges, and it is heavy technological project, new DLT, new technology. So we focus pretty much on technology foremost. For instance, one use case what we're trying to solve as one of the value propositions from SDX is riskless trading. This is different from today's trading because in our system we would be able to have trading matching of trades and execution as a settlement done in one step as one single atomic transaction, which eliminates counterparty risk practically entirely. So this is our goal. And to do that, we, of course, need to have assets on our system, and we also need to make sure what atomic settlement is possible. So the very first step what we are doing is a tokenization process. In our system, tokenization is taking into the custody, immobilizing some assets, and issuing equivalent tokens on our system, which could be directly owned by a rightful owner on the distributed ledger. Having that, tokenized assets and tokenized cash on our system, we can facilitate atomic settlement, also known as DVP, delivery versus payment process, where the ownership of assets and the cash can change hands practically simultaneously in one logical transaction. Which leads us to riskless trading, where counterparty risks are eliminated practically entirely. Of course, the assets what we're trading are tokens. We not really treat them as stupid tokens, just holding the ownership record and quantity. It also contains some number of business logic encapsulated into it. So let's have a look a little bit in details into the atomic settlement. So that is so-called trading and post-trading becoming one, executed in one step. In traditional model, the model which is today is executed by 6, the trading engine in the center, on the top, is collecting trade order from the members, seller and buyer, bank A, bank B. The communication with the banks are done normally in traditional standard interfaces using fixed protocol. So there is a trader on the bank side which is using the trading system on bank to send the order to trading engine. Once both orders arrive into the system, we are placed in the order book, and eventually orders might match. The matching results in passing message into the clearing system, which makes sure that there is enough assets, which is seller wants to sell on the seller side, and there is enough cash on the buyer side, and if necessary, collaterals are used to de-risk that whole situation. Once clearing is done, the settlement is simple swap of the assets in the database held by this settlement system, which results also in the messages sent to core banking system on the bank sides and reconciling them with the trading application somewhere in the top. So if you see, it is quite long loop. It could take up to 2 days, and everything could happen during that 2 days, even the reversals of the trades for whatever reason. So there is risk involved in many places in that system. Also, there is a lot of reconciliation happening, because all of those systems are where not sharing data or not sharing processing. All of that communication happening via messages to be sure that everything goes smooth. So there is a reconciliation between the bank and trading engine. There is a reconciliation in the clearing and settlement system. Core banking system have to reconcile with trading system on the top. What we are striving to build at SDX is similar system where the back end is totally changed. We looked at the beginning into trying to do decentralized trading, but we decided it would be too difficult for our aggressive timeline, so we settled to still provide a traditional trading engine, centralized trading engine, where our participants would work with existing interfaces, sending fixed messages, but the back end is completely changed. Every participant in our network would own a DLT node with their own private key, where in case of seller, the assets what seller wants to sell would be held, and in the buyer side, the equivalent amount or necessary amount of the cash would be stored. Then the settlement itself, once trading engine reports the match and sends settlement instruction to the atomic settlement layer, could be done in one step. In fact, the whole trading and atomic settlement, as I said, one logical transaction. If settlement fails for whatever reason, the trading did not happen and some actions would be taken. All of that is, we call, happens instantly. Clearly, in real life, there is no such things like instant. So there are various trading marketing models. We are investigating on the trading side how to make that whole system work smoothly within limits of the DLT systems of today. And as you can see, also reconciliations are practically not happening. There is only 2 points of reconciliation between trading system and trading platform and DLT nodes and banking trading system. In future, we of course would like to think what banks or organizations who operate on our platform would utilize our modern APIs or go directly to work with Node and migrating or moving their banking system into the DLT world eventually. So, to break a little bit a piece, I would like to show you a little demo. This system, what I'm going to show, we're using for testing of our application and demonstrating the results. I cannot show you the real working system. We have it deep down in SDX, but it's not yet ready for prime time. So here I'm going to show you a testing environment. Here, the test consists of 3 stages where we are setting up the DLT node, setting up some data, then matching is happening on the trading platform, resulting in the atomic swap of the assets, and this, as you can see. So it is a recording, so I would try to keep up with the speed. As I said, this scenario is a trade between 2 participants on the SDX exchange. And first step, we are creating a 6-digital exchange node. It's just empty at the moment. It will be populated later. The seller node is created as well with beneficial owner Hans Muster allocated on it. The beneficial owner has certain amount of the assets on his account. The next step, we are creating similar for the buyer node with a beneficial owner on that node as well, having certain amount of the cash in his account. We populate order book with certain random value just to make it pretty. And the first step, seller wants to sell his assets. So he selects his 60 securities, selects amount of cash what he wants to pay per each receive for each security, and sends order to the exchange. Similar process happening on the buyer side. Buyer also indicates what securities he wants to buy, for which price, and sends order to exchange. 2 orders arrive. The match happens, and this was a DVP process in action. So now we can see what the seller received a cash for their assets, and the buyer got his 60 securities what he wanted to buy. So this is kind of a style of demo what we're running in our system today, not always with such nice visualization, but we try to do it. I'm not going to probably go in that process. It's just explaining the same in a little bit more details. So let's have a look on the assets, decentralized assets and cash holdings. Traditional asset holding system, like we have, for instance, at SIX, is essentially a big database where the asset holdings are recorded on the accounts in the central database, on accounts of the corresponding to the participant, Bank A and Bank B. So whenever bank wants to do something with that, query the status, receive some notification about asset movements, it's all happening through the Swift messaging today, which is perfectly OK, but this is a central system and basically something which we want to depart from. In SDX, what we're trying to achieve is full ownership of the assets by individual node. Every participant in our network owns its own node, where he can have complete set of assets in name of their beneficial owner stored in their vault, and exchange of that assets happening with consent of that participants, practically without intrusion or control of SDX in role of CSD. So clearly, we are regulated. We collect reports. We show statistics. We're making sure that everything works smoothly. But in practice, with this system, in case of over-the-counter transactions, for instance, the participants are able freely exchange their assets and simultaneously offload a lot of common services traditionally done by CSDs infrastructures into the network itself. So that's so-called decentralized asset and cash holding system. So what is the digital assets in our system? Technically, when we create an asset, it is simply a reference data. So asset could be created pretty much mechanically out of some message arrived from the participant. We just create a reference data record in our node, SDX node, and distribute that information among participants. This piece of information is just that. It's inert. It's not really doing much. The second piece of information is actual holding. The holding record is a recording of who owns how many of tokens of specific assets. So that is a reference to the asset definition reference data. The asset definition is pretty much traditional. It has identification. It defines what type of asset class it is, what are properties specific to that type of assets. Every asset might have different attributes depending on the use cases we are participating. And together with asset definition, a set of business logic is bundled, making that asset run by network itself. So what we are trying to achieve, we try to remove all business logic, which is today run in central place on CSD, and make assets themselves enforce those business rules and execute that business logic. We are currently working on the completely decentralized corporate action system, where the assets themselves, depending on their type and type of the corporate action executed on that assets, would make sure what right amount of dividends, for instance, distributed to all the investors holding that asset. So all in all, that system gives us a possibility to have one single source of information which is shared among all participants on our network, making this system is practically not require reconciliation, because the asset definition and business logic is shared, the all logic is there, the participants have to do nothing on their system. Well, not nothing, but much more or less than in traditional systems. So as I said, the business logic allows automated processes such as corporate action processing, which is a hard problem in today's world. We're also looking into the proxy voting on offering not only the communication from issuer to investor, but also back from investors to the issuers, facilitated completely on our platform. And of course, such flexibility allows us for great commercial opportunities. We can create different asset classes. We can offer even the systems or entry points for partners, how they can create their own assets on our platform independently from us, but enforced by the rules what we impose and build in our system. And last piece of the asset definition and tokenization is Swiss franc tokenization. Of course, system cannot work just with assets, digital assets. We need to place cash into the system in order to be able to do any trades. In our case, our solution to the tokenization of the cash is partnership with Swiss National Bank and using the SIG payment network, which is SIG is maintaining. The scheme looks like this. The bank should just transfer some amount of cash, deposit cash, on the account, SDX Omnibus account in the SNB Bank. Seeing that, we receive a payment instruction which SIG gateway on our end would pick up, verify, and in case everything is OK, the new token, cash token, amount of cash tokens would be issued on the SDX node of the participant who deposited that cash in the Omnibus 6 account. This process also reversible if the member would like to return or detokenize tokens, cash tokens, and receive back cash on their account. He can initiate a flow with SDX node, returning back that amount of tokens, which would go through the reverse process, where the payment instruction would be issued against the SDX Omnibus account, sending the cash back to account of the member bank. So with that system, we offer seamless process where cash could be tokenized and detokenized by the participants themselves without really much. It's not fully automated, of course, at the moment, and this is only the first version what we come up yet. We have in mind several other options like tokenization on demand, but this is what we are going to offer when we go live next year. And those tokens will be usable across all SDX ecosystems. So any member of our system would be able to do that tokenization and use cash for the payment. So that was the last piece what I would like to tell you. Thank you very much for your attention. Have a good day.